council will be now in session. Okay. Roll
call, Ms. Carolyn Johnson. Here. Andy Bode.
Here.
Terri Mabry.
Here.
Jack Perkey.
Here.
Terry Richard.
Here.
Okay, we need to discuss the appointment for the replacement for Mr. Foster.
Are we not going in order? The minutes?
What?
Are we not going in order? We're not
No,
doing the
we're not.
minutes of the treasury report or the annual report?
No. I have it pretty, going down the bottom. Okay?
Ask the question, okay?
I'm saying we need to discuss the appointment for the vacancy of Mr. Foster. I'll open it up for discussion.
Well, I would suggest that we appoint somebody that has come to the meetings on a fairly regular basis. And one person I think of is Phillip Laux. He's been through quite a bit.
That's somebody I'd like to point out. That has been coming to the meetings. And her name is Linda Simpson. She went to Briaroaks 20 years ago after marrying Gary Simpson. She lives on Trailwood. She's going to make her living anywhere else. She's been working and going to school to get her bachelor's degree in business with a concentration in accounting. She accomplished this in October and received a degree. She's very interested in being part of Briaroaks. And she heard from her neighbor about the city council meetings and the mayor, and she also decided that she wanted to know more. She started attending the city council meetings and discussed my interest with my family and friends. That she probably believes she has enough experience in business and accounting that she could be a good city council member and work with others in Briaroaks. I hope that you will pick that up. Phillip's right here. And that we would like to say anything?
Anyone else?
I make a motion that we close the appointment.
Okay. There, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah, I can't understand you. What are we voting for?
So,
Oh, okay.
Any motion carries? Okay. Vote. On Mr. Laux. All in favor? Opposed? Voting on Mr. Laux.
No.
Okay. And what was the other lady's name?
Linda Simpson.
Linda? Those in favor of Linda? Two nays. Looks like we're out of time. I'll break the time. Mr. Laux. Mr. Laux?
Yes,
You'll join us up here, please.
yeah, close. You could.
Terri, would you swear to talk here, please?
solemnly swear,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
not directly or indirectly paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
promised to contribute
any money
any money
or thing of value,
or any value,
or promised any public office
or promised any public office,
or employment for the giving or withholding
or employment for the giving or withholding
of a vote at the election
of a vote at the election,
at which I was elected or as a reward
which I was elected or as a reward,
to secure my appointment or confirmation,
to secure my appointment or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be,
so help me God.
so help me God. A lot of smart people, that would be.
I know. I state your name,
I, Laux,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of office of council place 1
of office of council president
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability preserve,
and will to the best of my ability preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God. That's the wrong way.
Yeah.
Real quick.
There's examination of the minutes from the last meeting.
Meeting minutes for April 5th, 2021. Call to order. Meeting was called to order at 7:30 PM by Mayor Martin Salinas. Review meeting procedures to address the council. Mayor Salinas stated there will be a time at the end of the meeting to address the council should any guests want to. Roll call. Councilmembers present: Andy Bode, Mayor Pro Tem Jack Perkey, Terri Witcher, Carolyn Johnson. It was noted that Mr. Richard Foster passed away on March 9, 2021. There was a quorum present. From October 5th, reading of the minutes, no one elected to take meeting notes. Therefore, there are no meeting minutes available. December 7th, 2020, Councilmember Witcher made a motion to accept the meeting minutes. It was seconded by Councilmember Perkey, 4-0 in favor. March 1, 2021, Councilmember Witcher made a motion to accept the meeting minutes. It was seconded by Councilmember Perkey, 4-0 in favor. Review and approve treasurer's report for December 2020. Mayor Pro Tem Bode made a motion to accept the report. It was seconded by Councilmember Witcher, 4-0 in favor. January 21, Councilmember Witcher made a motion to accept. It was seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bode, 4-0 in favor. February 21, Mayor Pro Tem Bode made a motion to accept the report. It was seconded by Councilmember Witcher, 4-0 in favor. Animal control report. Ms. Perkey drove around without nothing out of the ordinary. Old business. Discussion and possible action on updating the stop signs. Resident Howard Bogart volunteered to help Mayor Salinas hang up the RV purchase signs. Discussion and possible action on contacting residents concerning city business in Briaroaks. The letter speaks to all residents twice a year. A motion was not made, but it was discussed. The secretary will bring a draft for review at the next regularly scheduled meeting. Discussion and possible action on 2145 Target Road. No action was taken. It was suggested by Mayor Pro Tem Bode to contact the municipal attorney. New business. Discuss new council member, council to nominate. No action was taken. Discuss approve presented 2021 budget. The overall budget has not been approved. Within the budget, payroll companies and immediate necessity was discussed. 3 local companies were presented. A motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Bode to use taxes, seconded by Councilmember Johnson. Motion failed because no one else voted in favor. A motion was made by Councilmember Wisher for overcash and fuel, seconded by Councilmember Perkey. Motion passed with a vote of 3-2. Interlocal cooperation agreement with Johnson County. Secretary was looking for a 1971 document for ETJ on file with the city of Carolyn. Discussion and possible action on repairing potholes in the city. No discussion. Discussion and possible action on hiring a code compliance staff member in lieu of a police officer. No action was taken. Discussion and possible action on election items. Council members to appoint an election judge. A motion was made by Councilmember Richard to appoint Billy Stevens as the election judge, seconded by Councilmember Perkey. The motion passed 4-0. Determine whether the canvass and votes the options is May 7th or May 10th at 7 p.m. Discussion and possible action on meeting time and or frequency. No action was taken. Secretary responsibilities to be updated and defined. No duties were formally defined. Secretary to be added to all meeting accounts. Possibly have a special meeting and draft job descriptions for all city staff. 2032 Valley Beach present plans for construction. Luis Allen presented a plaque for the build and building pool. Councilmember Perkey made a motion to accept the plans, seconded by Councilmember Richard. Motion passed 4-0. Adjourn, motion to adjourn. Richard, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Bode at 9:31 with a vote of 4-0 in favor.
Perkey.
On the 2145 tar road, Mayor Salinas said that he had screwed up on that and that we would drop it because in order to go back and do anything about it, you have to do something either at that meeting or the next regular meeting.
I don't recall, Mr. Salinas.
No, I'm saying, it's that
We'll have to go back
was
to
the reasoning.
the video, and
But
yes,
you
I did not
You
remember.
can't have this on
You just want to
every
push it under the
agenda.
rug,
I'm
because the meeting's
speaking,
not going to go away.
just a minute. We can't have stuff come up over and over and over again. That's why we go by Robert's rules for parliamentary procedure. And whenever you pass anything, or you get rid of anything, it's a finality. Now, if somebody decides they want to change it at that meeting, they can bring it back up if they voted in the majority. So it would be changing it to the other direction.
Okay.
You understand?
I talked to a municipal attorney about this. I know you said in your last meeting that you were going to do that. Have you done it?
I suggested we needed to do that before.
Well, no, the
we go
minutes
after
indicate,
somebody.
and you said that you were going to contact council. That's what the minutes indicate. So I didn't
That's
think you were
what
going
this
to.
indicates. That's not exactly what I said. I said, if you're going to go after somebody, make sure you talk to a municipal attorney before you do anything like that.
I talked to him.
If you did, what they said.
And he said this, that what could happen is the person, the resident in Briaroaks could sue Mr. Cerruti for not having near enough masonry on that house. That's nothing against the ordinance. Then in turn, Mr. Cerruti could sue the city and the city council. That's exactly what I said. So we certainly do need a city attorney to keep us in line. Because the city is too small to be sued. No, we haven't gone over the how much money is in the accounts, but we don't have enough for that. It can't just go away.
Well, we need to talk to you.
We do. Not just push it under the rug. It needs to be talked about, and it doesn't have to happen yet. So it can't just go away, just because you want it to go off the agenda. It's not legal.
I agree with you on that.
I recall that discussion. The end of the discussion, even though everyone did agree, it wasn't happening, the end of the discussion was that it couldn't happen again. However, it had happened, it was a lesson learned, it was a mistake. And we learned we weren't going to let it happen again, but it had already happened. And now, that was the end of the discussion. That was the mayor's point of view on it, she's no longer the mayor. I don't know if that's going to apply, but
Well, this time it's council. It's a legal matter. Protects everybody, if we get sued and we can't afford it, and it will impact every resident.
No, I've got to agree with, I was here at the meeting, that's basically what it said, it's too late now to do anything, let's learn, because no one followed up on what the guy, presented that he was going to do. And no one raised a beef about it until it was done.
There needs to be a process in place, so this won't happen again. We can't just sweep it under the rug. We messed up, we need a process.
I agree with that, but I mean,
Because we're supposed to go look.
but the mayor
Somebody
does.
said the mayor did, but that's not the mayor's responsibility. If you read an ordinance that's passed by really most of the people here, it says the city council is responsible for making sure.
Yeah, it was a lesson learned. Now, the process, we need the process in place, it's absolutely true, but, he does go with a pretty impressive attorney, so I'm pretty sure he looked at the legal side of it before he recommended that it was a lesson learned, that it was a lesson learned,
Have y'all seen that property?
so.
Okay, and it's supposed to be 80% masonry. And they now approved it, the city council for 60.
About 35 to 40.
Have you seen it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's a beautiful home.
but it's not, it's against
It
ordinance.
looks better than a lot.
I mean, it looks a ton better than the home next to it.
But if you had an ordinance that you put in place as at 80%, and somebody came a year after Cerruti, and it was called out that that person didn't have 80% masonry, and you said, the city council said, you have to have that. So why is he allowed not to have it? That's what's against the law. And then you allow somebody to shoot the other person and say, you have to have 80, but you can have 60, and that doesn't look like 60 to me. That's what I'm saying, this, we need to figure this out.
Right.
Can't
The,
just
the
rush it away.
point that I was trying to make is that the council did approve it that night. And he had to increase it to a certain amount, whether it was 60% or whatever. But it was approved that night. And it has been over a year since that happened, and no action was officially taken.
Well, there's a 4-year.
Is it fair to him?
There's a 4-year statute of limitations, so we're not out of it from the time it was finished and how do we know it was finished? If nobody would have looked at it or kept up with it. So it's not just going away because it's been a year. 4 years, nothing, it's a 4-year statute. So we need to see counsel. That's an agenda item for a city attorney, we really need one for many reasons.
There are a lot of other things that people have broken as far as the ordinances.
Well, then I,
Why aren't they being called out too? There's a lot.
there is a lot like junk cars on people's property. There's a lot of ordinances that aren't being, that, you know, we're not asking. We need to ask the citizens. They don't even know what ordinances that we have. They were put in place by the founders of law. So that's what baffles me is why we don't know what
The, part of the reason why they never know what the ordinances are is they don't take any interest in it until it affects them.
they don't know about it. They don't even, we didn't even know you were having city council meetings because there's no communication. There's no website, nothing. They'll just say, we've gone through this before. When
I don't
the
think
prior
the
mayor was
website's
elected, a
gonna
lot of
be-
people found out about these meetings, including me. 15 years been here. I remember one saying she lived here for 30 years, didn't know it was a city council.
I wouldn't admit that. Lived out here 30 years and didn't know we had a city council.
Well,
It's-
what do you have to do to even find that?
Well, when we
I mean, we
moved
can
down
live in a
here,
city like Burlington.
my neighbor
someplace like
made
that.
sure I knew and followed the rules.
That's not feasible. People working and going, that's not even part of it. They need to know about the ordinances. They do.
Well, I agree with you.
They do. I mean, we can't be mad at them for breaking them if they don't know they exist. That's all.
But everybody out here is broken.
Yeah. So we do have to communicate what the ordinances are and uphold those.
But anyhow, that was the only change that I wanted to note was that Mayor Salinas said
Well,
they screwed up and it was a dropped issue.
we need to send
That
it
was
to
his
council.
words.
Yeah, because it's still, we're still liable for it.
But it's still, it should be.
It doesn't go away. If it's not in the, if it's not on the agenda, it will go away.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Was it voted on that it went away, or was it just said that you said that? Was there actually a council vote to make it go away?
No, there's no.
Any other discussions? Okay.
There was another discussion on number 8, from number 5. It says here, it's written exactly the way it was written at the last meeting, but there was a lot of discussion. And a couple of council members even said that it's probably poorly written, it doesn't exactly say the spirit of what they were trying to say when it says possible action of hiring a code enforcement staff member in lieu of a police officer. When I think they were trying to maybe hire another city employee, but not
Yeah,
abolish the
city
police.
maintenance person.
That discussion came up, and even several council members said, yeah, that's probably not written exactly the way they wanted it to sound. It is still in.
Fine, to maybe separate the two. They not maybe word the compliance to maintenance. Because everybody else be responsible for looking at things like this to make sure it was built up to the ordinance. Because how else are we gonna do it?
And I'm still not sure what we're gonna do with the police, but
We need to
it
talk
just
about
still,
that too.
this still says in lieu of a police officer. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
that's on the agenda.
You can't have a code ranger in lieu of a police officer.
Well, that's on the agenda too, police officer.
I understand, but as far as the discussion of the minutes, this was discussed at the last meeting. It was agreed by several people. I raised a fit about it from out there. It was agreed by several council persons. That's probably not the spirit of what they were trying to say in the written order, but it's still written exactly the same. Here, is that what y'all want in the record? In lieu of a police officer?
There will be a police officer, as soon as possible, will be hired. So there will be a police officer in the city of Briaroaks.
We're gonna discuss that item. We haven't decided that yet. That's up for discussion. It's on the agenda.
I'm just answering his question.
Well, you said we've already had one, and we're gonna discuss that item. City council.
Actually, there's one other item that's, remember number 8, number 2. That whole line is supposed to be discussed and approved, presented 2021 budget. We didn't get anywhere because I guess it was too many disagreements about something. But the mayor said he tabled it, but he can't table it. That's what he said at the meeting. It's not in the minutes. It was, we never tabled that in order to go to the next item. It's a procedure that was missed.
So it just needs to be noted on these minutes.
I just want to note it in the minutes, that's all. Now, the item with the payroll company, that should have been a separate item, not under new business or under the budget. That was a separate item that had to be taken care of before we talked about the budget. and I thought it was, but it's out of order here.
Do y'all read these minutes before this meeting?
Yeah.
Do y'all read these minutes before this meeting? Did you get them before this meeting?
I did, and I just went back and remembered.
Okay, because it would be nice, because we discussed this before, instead of going through this with everybody, that we can save time, because we don't need it till 7:30. I have to early in the morning.
I'm not gonna talk about it until we get here, this is city business.
Okay, something like that wouldn't affect anything, if it was out of order.
If you wanna talk about city business outside, that is your own business.
Where do you want? Accept.
A motion to accept.
Ma'am,
A motion to accept minutes.
accept.
That's corrected,
As corrected.
I second.
Okay. All in favor? All opposed? And then the approval of Carolyn's report.
Want me to read the treasurer's report
Yes, ma'am.
from the treasurer? Ms. Johnson was concerned I wasn't the treasurer.
We're not. So we're an appointed treasurer duties.
Okay, so who needs to read the treasurer's
You,
report?
you can read the treasury report, but you are not the treasurer.
Then I can't read that report, I made this report.
You refuse to read it.
You said I'm not the treasurer, so I
We're
can't read
not.
this one.
You weren't appointed treasurer duties. Did you ever find it in the minutes?
Who is the treasurer?
We don't have one.
Do we need one?
Pardon?
Do we need one?
The mayor was acting as treasurer because he made this grandstanding thing. I am not going to let the secretary have the checkbook. She's not gonna sign the checks.
Okay, I'm just asking.
If you did,
Do we need a treasurer? No.
the mayor was the treasurer because he refused to give that to the secretary. And whenever you voted her in, she was secretary. It wasn't secretary treasurer. It just said secretary.
It's on the job,
And that's the only point I'm making.
it's on the job duties I was given. It's on the job duties I was given. You guys approved the meeting minutes that talked about how it's needed the job description. It's in the November meeting minutes.
Where does it say that you're the treasurer?
Treasurer, make all deposits, pay all bills immediately, avoid late fees.
You're still not the treasurer. You weren't appointed.
It's on the job description for Ms. Foster.
You can read the treasury report.
You guys approved the meeting minutes that talked about for November, that says, discussion was had about city secretary duties and responsibilities. It was agreed that the mayor Salinas would distribute copies of the city secretary duties as outlined by the former secretary, Ms. Mary Foster. Further input would be discussed at a later time, if required. It's never been discussed.
She did read the minutes. She did read the minutes.
She's also the treasurer. Right.
Well, all right, she was our secretary treasurer, but you're not our treasurer.
But that's not what her job description says. Her job description says she's a treasurer.
No.
That's what
Yes,
it
it does, right here.
That's what you
I
hired.
understand that, but she was not given treasury duties.
So whose responsibility is that?
Well, it's ours, our
Okay.
council, but she was hired as a secretary.
But you allowed the prior secretary to be the treasurer too. How can you go against that?
was
too?
appointed.
She was not the treasurer, she kept.
You aren't contradicting each other. You're saying that she was appointed, you're saying that she wasn't. What is it?
She read our report, she had voted.
She didn't keep up with anything else, the banks and-
Pardon?
She didn't keep up with anything else, as far as banks or anything in that manner? She didn't? Okay, but then,
Or the treasurer.
no,
Well, I'm just saying,
Yes.
Kelly,
They're talking about two different secretaries. One was Mary Foster, one was Karen Suzanne Schrader.
True.
Two different secretaries. One did not have treasurer responsibility because Martin Salinas had a grandstand. He was doing it all. He didn't want the secretary to have any signing authority for any of that. She read the treasurer report every time, but she could not touch the money in any way. She could look at the accounts online, but she was not the treasurer. Yes, Mary Foster did, but that was when they were doing two signatures on a check.
okay, Mr. Bogart had his mark.
That was the secretary we had before her, one in between, she only lasted about 4 or 5 months.
right, that was Karen.
Howard Bogart.
That's reason she never got a check.
No, he didn't want her to have the checkbook. He made a big to-do in the middle of a council meeting about that. He did that to Mr. Foster, in front of Mr. Foster. And that was when he got so upset, he didn't know what he was doing at that point. But he made a big to-do in front of the city council meeting about that he was not gonna do it. He wouldn't do two signatures or anything.
Rick Howard Bogart had his hand up saying,
Who currently pays the bills?
I do.
Handles the deposits?
I do.
Why?
Martin Salinas did for a
It's
while.
not, it's not her job, then why she paying the
Martin
bills?
Salinas did for a while, he paid the bills, he would not bring the checkbook here for us to review.
But Carolyn, you're telling
And
her
then-
she's not the treasurer,
All right.
but you want her to pay the bills and take
There's
care of things.
something very fishy along this way, we'll get into it after.
When Marty did all that, we didn't have a secretary. Somebody had to do it.
We had Karen. Remember?
she wasn't her
She
treasurer.
wasn't here.
I know she
Yeah.
resigned. And then he paid the bill.
Well, he never did turn it over to her. Because he had already had it done, and he wanted to make
He
sure.
didn't want
she-
anybody looking at that check.
So what's fishy going on here?
Well, we'll get into it later.
Well, who do you want to
Let's,
make out?
let's,
Who do
let's,
you want to make out the checks now?
well, Kelly is doing it now. Because Martin gave her the checkbooks, he took her down unbeknownst to us and signed her up on it. That's a,
Mr. Bode signed the paper at the April meeting to allow me to get on the checking account. Yes,
Did what?
to put me on the checking account, you had to sign the paper. I couldn't do it
That did not
without you.
say, that did not say the bank on it. We were talking about something else.
What were we talking about?
Let me see a copy of it.
I don't have it, the bank has it.
I didn't sign
And
it.
that's,
Okay.
It wasn't what I was led to believe it was for. It was put in front of me after we were talking about something else. And the fact that you're on there now, because of that, is still not kosher. Only the council can determine that. The mayor can't determine that. Two people, whether it's the mayor or the mayor pro tem, cannot determine that. We can rectify this.
Now's the time.
So who's gonna, yeah,
Well.
So rectify.
Yes. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. We're involved in lots of organizations and everything else. But I tell you, if you have a lady here that's secretary, the job description says that she can take care of the audiences or whatever, that's fine. You need to change the heading of her title to Secretary Treasurer changing. Is, she apparently is doing work right now in everything else. Apparently she has authority to write checks. So, yeah, let's get beyond this and let's go ahead.
I agree, but I will say one thing, the reason why I'm upset, I signed something I shouldn't have, just because of the way she was hired. There was no advertising of the position. We have done no background check. Without a background check, you don't give somebody a big checkbook.
The reason that we
Now,
do this,
if we do a background check on her and it comes out just fine, that's it.
have you ever done a background
But it's
check
gotta
on
be
any
approved
city
by the
secretary in
council.
the past? Have you ever?
It's gotta be approved by the
Never
council.
done one on any city secretary in the past, which has been started this one. Is that right?
Why not?
Have you done a background check on any of the other city secretaries?
What does that matter?
We are acting like this is stopping the whole bus.
Everybody's
It's
in
the
these terms.
Well, I
everybody
don't
does a
think the city
background check.
council approving the background check, Karen, that's one. They haven't, did we?
No, because you were part of the ones that ran her in through.
Didn't run through.
Yes, you did.
City secretary.
Yes, you did.
And you know what Martin had, because y'all aren't doing anything to advertise or anything like that, Martin spent months trying to get that over. And, you know, we couldn't meet or anything, I was at every one of those meetings.
It was
So-
debacle.
Huh?
The first one we hired, administrator was a debacle, but we're not here to discuss that. Let's
You don't
let's
think
get
you don't
done
think
what needs
Kelly's,
to be done.
qualified, is that what you're saying?
Things have to be approved by the council, it's not.
That
done
she
by
wasn't.
the mayor.
She wasn't present, you can call it whatever you
Although
want.
he did that a
It
lot.
was.
That's passed.
She's voted in. Okay, well, let's leave it.
Shall we continue? If she doesn't want to read them, we can read them. Make comments.
Gary, you don't, do not want to read?
I will read them as I'm treasurer, just wanna make sure it's clear. I prepared these reports. So,
Well, this is something that took place before my time,
yeah,
so, we need to be taken care of, one way or the other. Either you think,
And probably was surprising how good she is.
so,
I'm happy to read them.
well, you agree with the council approve, and huh?
You can read them.
Okay, go ahead, read it, Gary. Please.
Financial report for March 2021. The Briaroaks special account, beginning balance $4,348.52. Expenses of $450 for payroll. Receipts, zero outstanding. End of month balance, $3,898.52. That's the current balance. Briaroaks general account, beginning balance, $177,398.23. Expenses of $488.68. T-Mobile bill for $107.74. AT&T 2 phones $82.65. Election expenses $202.07. Administrative reimbursements $96.22. For a total of $488.68. Receipts $3,937.12. Texas comptroller was $3,937.12. End of month balance $108,846.67. Outstanding items $1,500 for payroll. Current balance $179,346.67. For our savings account for the first quarter, beginning balance of $8,205.02. Receipts of $47.97 in CD interest. Interest earned for Q12, 2021, 20 cents, for a total of $55.07. Current balance, $8,304.06. There are various CDs, some of them we still don't know the, balance on, because I have not received statements. CD 745 compounds, $23,302.17. CD 685 is $10,200. city 7.6 compounds at $17,476.61. CD 385 compounds, $23,302.17. So with the current balance of the savings account of $8,304.06, I cannot confirm the rest of the CD balances.
I hear a motion to accept the treasurer's report as read.
Motion.
Okay, we got a second.
That's it.
Jack? Okay. All right, all in favor? Okay. Animal control report?
Do you want me to read April?
Make mine look.
Yeah, well, she didn't finish.
I have April. That was March.
Okay.
Financial report for April 2021, Briaroaks special account, beginning balance $3,898.52. Expenses of $75 for payroll. There were no receipts and nothing outstanding. End of month and current balance at the time, $3,823.52. Briaroaks general account, beginning balance $180,846.67. Expenses of $624.08. T-Mobile was $84.65. Election expenses $473.12. Website expenses $66.31. There were no receipts. Texas Comptroller there were receipts. Texas Comptroller 3,309.24. UCS franchise $16,885.96 for a total of $20,195.20. End of month balance $200,417.79. Outstanding items $2,000 for payroll. Current balance $198,417.79.
Okay. Thank you.
We could make a motion to approve both months, since we just approved one.
I'm making it. All in favor, accepting the treasurer's report is read. Second go round. All in favor? Okay. The animal control,
Right now, the phone's not working and we're in the process of getting a new one for me. Therefore, there was no phone call. I did, coming home late one evening, I saw a horse and two cows out. I contacted the owner, and with flashlights, we went and put the animals back into, their fence. And then I just drove around looking for anything out of there.
okay? Next on the agenda, we need to appoint a new mayor pro tem. I open the floor for nominations at this time.
I nominate, Councilman.
Okay. Anyone else?
I nominate Terri.
Who?
Terri.
Okay. Any more? Okay. All in favor of Andy Bode, resuming mayor pro tem? Show of hands. Okay, all opposed? Kevin, Terry? Two? Okay, well, try to make sure we. You, continue, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, the next item is we need to discuss the possibility of the new police officer, which, we probably have to get into that later date, we can determine, just exactly what we want.
So we're gonna, not talk about the police officer today, is that right, sir?
Ma'am,
Are we not talking about the police officer? Or are you talking?
police report, what we have on the police report,
Oh, we're not talking
and we can't discuss that. Wish we could, but we can't. Okay, now we need to discuss the point officials who will be authorized to connect financial transaction to the city. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, what was that, what you guys are voting on now? Or talking about?
Basically, who signs the checks?
Okay.
Who's responsible for
I
the?
didn't hear what you were saying, I'm sorry.
That's what it's all about.
But the argument wasn't that earlier, I get you.
about. Back to the treasury.
Yeah,
Since the mayor is the signatory for the city, he should have signed ability on the checks, no matter what. 5 days after he was elected, he had that ability. We just hadn't given it to him. Since the mayor pro tem has to fill his position, if he's not here, that person needs the signing ability. Since I'm still the mayor pro tem, I would have it until until we do a background check on Kelly.
We haven't agreed upon that.
Until we do a background check on Kelly, I would suggest that she not be allowed to sign the checks.
Who's gonna be discretion?
The only other person in here that I would suggest would be Carolyn. And she has done things similar to that before. I had to.
I don't think anyone on council should be able to sign a check. I think it should be a mayor or the treasurer.
Sir? Couldn't.
I don't think anyone on the council should be able to sign a check.
You should have at least 3 people that can sign the checks.
I don't think it's legal, really.
I think it is. You should have at least 2 people that have to sign the check before it ever gets through. Do you agree with that?
Yes, mayor and treasurer.
Do you agree with that? That at least 2 people should sign a check?
Mayor.
What if one of those can't sign the check? We need to have something in place to do that is,
Here, just one sign.
No, they always did 2.
they've always been 2 signatures,
Always.
always.
The
We
first
don't have any
time,
problem with finding that two sign.
Well, there's always been 2 signatures on the check.
had to. And that's the way they did everything up until this last 2 years. And that was just taken on his part to do that.
That was because we didn't have a secretary, and we didn't have, if he was new mayor, if he was supposed to be in charge. That's the reason. And we messed around for over a year before we ever found that.
I tried to explain it to him, and I have talked with him about it, and he didn't want any part of it. He had his mind made up, and he wouldn't put it on the agenda because he had control of the agenda. He was the mayor.
So you're saying that the mayor should also be the treasurer?
That the mayor should also be what?
The treasurer.
The treasurer? Not necessarily. That could be assigned to anybody on the council. It depends on the council. The council decides. The council decides who's secretary. The council decides who's treasurer.
You can make a motion.
If there's a marshal,
I remember the discussion that there always been two signatures on the check. The mayor is the only person elected by the people here. So you should be the one signing the checks. First signature on the checks. We need a yeah. Treasurer. Treasurer. The mayor and the treasurer is what makes sense. But I understand that there should be a third party somewhere, not to go around either the mayor or the treasurer. If something were to happen to a mayor or a treasurer,
He used to be the second signer.
there would need
one
to
of
be
the other two.
there would need to be an option. I see tragedy every day.
So you're asking for contingencies, all you're asking for?
Yeah, not a third party, not a go around.
Couldn't you guys have a special session on council for the third one to appoint that position if something, if one of the two become incapacitated? I see where you're going with that.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't think you need three. Two in a special council, in a special session, if one can become incapacitated.
If one comes in to pass it, we have to go to the bank and start over. If there was a third party on there, we could go to the bank.
No, you would just have a meeting and you'd have your meeting minutes and you go to the bank.
Okay.
That's all you'd have to do. So if somebody came incapacitated, you just have
Yeah,
a
I
meeting.
went to the bank here. So, yes, you can go more about banking, right?
there should be checks and balances on all of this stuff so that no one person has that.
Right, like I said, the mayor's the only one elected by the people. So I understand him being the first signature on the
We're all elected by the people.
So,
You know that, right? We're all elected. But who's the new treasurer? I mean, is it Carolyn, is it mayor, I mean, or did it happen? Because you said Tony's not, so who is? I'm just asking.
That's what this council decided. And I made the suggestion that as long as we do a background check, then we can make that choice.
It's gonna take about 3 days.
That should not. What?
But we don't meet for 2 months. So,
Because it's financially irresponsible for us to just hand over a check to someone, especially a debit card.
so what are we gonna do
It
today?
requires no signature.
Are we gonna select?
That was not approved by the city council.
So are we gonna appoint somebody to be the city secretary? Are we gonna wait for the background check? What are we gonna do? This isn't my backyard, I'm gonna provide that, so why are we waiting for me to say something? It's like, y'all,
Well, we do need a background check. What company hires without a background check? If something were to happen, we would be responsible for it. And Kelly was hired without, application.
there's not an application. I've never seen an application, is there one?
We had a choice of
Oh,
one.
there is? Okay, never seen.
It was never advertised. It's just-
Okay, well, that's past this.
If it had been
She
done
was
differently,
approved
that's
by the
fine.
city council, so we should be.
Why are we arguing about this?
I'm not arguing, I said do a background check.
Yeah.
She was approved by the city council, which she was voted in. You keep bringing that up, I don't know.
Because the city council is supposed to approve things like anything that occurs
I
with the
don't remember
council.
that ever.
Oh, that would have fixed it right there.
Well,
That would have fixed it right there. And I remember it. That would have fixed it.
That would handle that.
That was a good intro right there.
Why don't we, run that check?
I suggest we do.
We'll do it.
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
Do it. I'll make a motion. Do it. Background check on.
I'll second it.
Well, we have to have her application and her references.
Do you have your application you put out first time? Do you have a copy of your?
That doesn't have anything to do with background check. Yes, it
So
does.
who are we gonna ask about?
She has, no, I do them all the time, I'm sorry. I'm
You don't
not,
have to have a
I should
background check.
I cannot tell you how many background checks I do. Because of the type of work that I do, yeah.
Yeah, I was
just
just in this
No,
last
it's-
week, so, yeah. So, Dorothy, you do have to fill out a piece of paper and it has a question on it. But I've never had to put in an application with all the ones I've had to do. So, maybe y'all should
Well,
do some
that's-
research
that's
on it.
all I
Y'all brought
asked
this to the
for.
table, y'all do some research on it, okay? Like I did with the attorney and all that. So, you know, you can say you want a motion to do a background check, but you make a motion on something, you have a treasurer.
It's a main. I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Oh, that's the mayor's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to face this subject.
Hey, y'all been going up, so that's wrong.
Grandmother down there.
What? I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you.
I said, you been grandmother
Oh.
down there.
I'm just,
That's the way it comes. Okay, all in favor? Run the background check, Mr. Kevin?
I would expect it to be proper. I think she'll probably be okay.
Did you vote against it?
Okay.
We still need to do a motion as to who can sign checks right now.
is that the treasurer?
Ma'am?
Is that the treasurer, appointing the
We're not
treasurer?
talking about the treasurer, we're talking about the ability to sign the checks.
Oh, okay. So Kelly's not the treasurer, okay, until the background check's in, and then,
Then they will decide.
okay.
So everybody's good.
I don't
Okay,
know.
but still they, the what, man?
Bills, want me to pay the bills?
Nobody's paying the bills. Nobody paying it.
Now, I did ask you for the checkbooks before the meeting. I needed to have a check written to go to our storage facility. It is now past due, we have a late charge, so it's gonna cost more, plus they're not on their rates like everybody else.
Okay.
So we're gonna need to write a check for that tonight, just so everybody knows,
Wow, yeah.
for storage, so.
You didn't get the bill.
That's why I asked for the checkbook, and you refused to give it to me. Why?
Why don't I
Why
receive
did
the bill?
you refuse to give it to me?
Did you see the email she sent to us in response?
I asked for the checkbooks.
I know you asked for the checkbook,
You refused to give it to me. Why?
because I'm acting treasurer, it's in my job description to pay the bills on time. I
That
haven't
doesn't
received
mean
any
you
of that.
carry the checks. They don't belong to you.
I know they don't belong to me.
I am a council member. Any council member can ask for those checkbooks
I
at any
understand that.
time. You work for us. We don't work for you. Okay?
According to
I'm
our
sorry.
Johnson County attorney,
Just because I
You
ask
were
for it
in
doesn't mean I have to have
subordination.
10,000 reasons.
So what attorney is that?
Kevin McNair.
Well, let's get a city attorney to speak.
Terri, you go with the second place. Then why don't you wanna give the checkbook up?
Because in my job description, it
Well,
says
we're not talking about your job description.
that I'm responsible for the checks and to pay the bills.
Well,
Keeping track
So I keep it, and I'm also the treasurer, according to the job description, which says in the state of Texas, government code, when you're acting as duties of power of secretary and treasurer, that I shall receive and securely keep all money belonging to the municipality.
okay, I'm asking for the checkbook, and I'm asking for the debit card.
Okay.
Now,
You're asking her to go against this?
Yeah.
Nowhere does that say that the city council cannot ask for that. It doesn't say she's exclusive to that. Nowhere in the law. But when you read about how our city is ruled, it does say the city council can ask for us.
How's she gonna be responsible if everybody has a checkbook?
She is responsible for keeping track of all receipts, checking the bank accounts, making sure everything matches.
They're two different things.
So she's not responsible for paying
So
bills.
anybody can write a check and give it.
Well, it's okay. It's okay to have checks and balances.
This is kind of sketchy, slippery slope. We'll have to.
Exactly,
Council on
it's
it as
very
well.
vague, so when they ask for it, they can get it.
Would it be okay though?
Yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
have to get with
can I
Perkey
ask
on
a
that
question?
too.
I know that Bode asked, it seems like Bode asked for the checks. Would it be okay for Perkey to ask for the checks?
If he wants to look at it, if he wants it,
Then everybody needs background check, okay?
Well, she can give you back in time to pay the bills.
Has Bode had a background
I
check?
can guarantee that.
I mean, it's almost like you're contradicting, she has to have a background check, but she don't have to have a background check.
You gonna
Whoever
write
has
a
a
check, you
checkbook,
need that.
you need to be across the board, and everybody that touches that should have to have a background check. That's the only way it can be done.
That's right. The difference is that she's hired and you're elected.
Still, when you're talking. Everybody, we don't know what y'all's background is, you don't know what, I mean, that is just like, you gotta know what y'all know.
okay,
The
okay.
background check, if it were an elected position,
I'm just saying, you contradict yourself a lot.
it's not.
I mean, I've already converted this with TML. I've had multiple conversations with them that says that the secretary treasurer follows these rules, and they're the ones that hold the checkbooks. You guys are welcome to look at them, but you're asking me to give them to you and walk away from them. Then how am I supposed to pay the bills and follow the law that says that the treasurer shall receive and securely keep all money belonging to the municipality?
I
You're not
wanted
the
to
treasurer,
see them,
I am.
I wanted to write a check, and I wanted to go through and look at it.
Well,
It is
fine.
my right to audit that check.
We should all
But
audit
you
that
have-
together.
You have access to
I
it.
asked for them,
You have access to, you can go in and look at the bank statements,
checks.
checks, okay?
The checks run through the bank statement.
You're just saying, you just said earlier, you're
But
not
if
supposed
you
to
look
write
at the
the
statement,
check.
you don't see
and
everything, you don't see what's
Things
coming in.
in that you can get online. That don't make sense. I wanted to see, check, see.
Hold on.
If anything's
Well, I
missing,
think you could sign the
I want to
check.
see if anything's missing, if it's fine.
Yes, but you have outstanding checks that are on there, is what I'm saying. A bank statement is not a total picture of what has been written on that account.
So we can have an audit all together in a meeting. It should be closed because there's bank account numbers on them according to TML that do not have to be released in a public meeting.
I didn't ask for them to be.
So I'm just saying that he's saying that I should just give them to him, like he can walk away with them.
Yes.
No, according to TML, when I talked to them multiple times this month about this and the request of.
They were assuming you were the treasurer though, so they were answering your question according to the belief that you were the treasurer. They're saying that you're not the treasurer.
The city doesn't have an appointed treasurer.
Right, but when
So
she
that
asked that
falls-
question
so that
to
falls under the
TML,
umbrella.
it made it appear appear like she was the treasurer, so they were answering her in that manner.
That's correct.
Yeah, when they ask you who's paying the bills, I am. Okay, you're a treasurer. Why am I paying the bills? Because I have them,
The
and I'm not
council
paying
didn't
them.
approve you to do that. That was what the mayor was supposed to be
Council
doing at the time.
approved the job description I was handed. You also signed a signature sheet to put me on the bank accounts.
I know, it was a mistake on my part because you're arguing way too hard about this. We
I'm not arguing,
have,
I'm good with paying the
we
bills.
just have a motion made. I second it to do a background check
Okay,
on
I'm
you.
good with that.
That would take care of things.
Okay.
So why are we yelling?
I don't know why you're
Because you keep going round and round.
It is,
Background check,
argue it's just a
registration,
circular thing.
And another thing I'd like to know is who approved, the, I guess you'd say, your usual terminology. All this stuff, job description, who approved it? Did the city council approve it?
It was from what you had on
I'm not
file.
talking to you, Terry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay,
Just 2 minutes.
Where'd you get that?
Yeah, I got the job description.
Whenever somebody goes to the bank, like our mayor, who after 5 days of the election could have walked in the bank, he should have been added to that account. But they told him, no, someone said, gotta have minutes, approved minutes. To do that, where are your approved minutes? There aren't any. Because it wasn't required.
I can't help what the bank says. They accepted the signature card.
That's why we need to take care of that right now.
Ken, where did you get that job description for the city secretary?
From Mr. Sullivan.
From, you and I thought she made it up.
Where did that job description come from?
Ms. Foster.
We talked about getting an updated one, but we needed input. From the last I remember, from what it
A lot of that was done through mass, and it's hard of hearing and irritating. So now, back to the matter at hand, the authority to sign checks. We had a motion, we've got to take care of the motion that Mr. Perkey made to do a background check. I second it.
Okay, all in favor of having a background check on Carolyn? Show of hand. Okay. Approved.
Now, authority to sign checks.
As a freshman here,
Yes.
can I make a motion to do a background check on me now? Just get that out there.
You could, but you were elected.
Well, they didn't mean it's not a girl.
Well, yeah, it's, you never know.
We're more recent ones in out there.
I may surprise
But I don't think everybody knows that.
No, I'm gonna make a motion.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we're in the discussion of who can sign checks.
I'll make a motion that Mayor Jerry Mabry, Mayor Pro Tem Andy Bode, and Councilperson Carolyn Thompson be authorized to sign checks for the city at this time.
Okay.
It can be changed or any
That's back there.
So for now, I know it's,
I'll admit, be the first to admit, it is better for the city secretary to also have that ability, but I want the background check in place. It makes sense. We have to be financially responsible.
They don't take long to do.
It doesn't take much, but they need to do one. They need to do a criminal background check.
You require her to have a background check, and then you go on the books and all
Without
control of the money. And you don't have a background check.
I was
You
aware.
have to have one.
I
Well,
lived
you
here
can
a long
sit
time.
out there and let them
Valid
out on the
people.
street and come in here.
I lived here a long time.
Let me there.
I keep hearing that argument from everybody else. I thought I'd use it.
So since the bank may ask this, who's gonna be listed treasurer on the bank account?
So, I mean, is she not letting?
She is, but he's asking to remove her right now. He's asking to remove her, so if that happens, that's okay. The bank's gonna wanna know who's the treasurer, who is the official person.
Well, we got a motion on the floor. It's been made and seconded. No? No. You got it. A second. Any suggestion or make a motion? Myself. Mr. Bode. And basically as a backup would be Carolyn Johnson. Now,
At this time.
we need to, vote. Any opposed?
We don't have a second.
On
We
the-
need a second.
I got a question on it. Which one of you then is gonna pay all the bills and do all the books and make the financial reports and all that? Which one of you three gonna do?
None of us.
Hmm?
None of us.
Well, then how we gonna know how much we have in the bank?
Is she gonna have access?
If the bills are being paid?
We have to get him to the bank and get him on the accounts.
That's what I said, when you're all on the account, when she's not gonna be on the account, who's gonna take care of all the books?
Now, guess I would.
Take all the money, put it in the bank,
I need the
Balance
bills,
all
they
that out?
automatically put in the bank.
so you'd be the secretary.
No,
Treasurer.
that's the
You'd
secretary.
be the treasurer then.
Carolyn is still the
Office
secretary.
treasurer. That's on the
Carolyn is still the secretary.
What?
Carolyn is the secretary. That's not been taken away from her. So you don't have to worry about that.
He can be treasurer and take care of all of it.
Well, it may be
Who's gonna be
a short period of time.
responsible?
She may be treasurer. Soon as we find out on the background check. Okay?
Or he is treasurer.
That's,
Take this.
Or he is treasurer. I'm sorry.
is that copacetic for you?
Okay.
Okay.
As long as I
But I'm
have
not
the bills in
voting.
front
They
of me,
didn't ask
I'm
me for
back.
it. I'm not doing it. So
We
we
just
have
need to get somebody at the bank as a second in third. And we clarify our procedures. Actually get some procedures that we don't have.
Well, I think we were doing the same thing that we've been doing for years. Only we just got a different person doing it. And I'm not against not getting a background check. Get a background check, but I think she's gonna be taking care of the books. She needs to write the check, so she can keep up with it.
I just want to say this one thing too. Why did it take months? How long have you been in this position? No, I'm just not bringing this up. I just think that's strange in itself. It was okay, but now it's not.
How long she's had this
It's
position?
fine.
It's
She's
November.
just been recently put on the account.
I've been on the account since.
To handle the money.
She's been in the
And we
position
need
since
to
then.
cover our toes.
So, are y'all gonna appoint somebody as treasurer then, since that's not gonna be Kelly's responsibility?
No, I didn't say that. It's not. We need the background check before we appoint the treasurer. They will be handling our money.
But you're gonna go to the bank and make all the changes.
Pardon?
You'll go to the bank and make all the changes
After 3 days.
after 3 days.
When we
Once you do a background check on her,
as soon as,
She can be added, there can be 4,
She's already on.
well, I don't,
or she's already on.
Those 3 and put underneath her pending the background check. I mean, since she's already on it, make Jerry, Andy, and Kelly pending background check.
She's been doing it since November with no problem. She's already on.
Yeah, and the
And
thing is,
we expect her to do it, and we don't expect a problem with background check. I don't have a problem with the background check, but I don't see any reason to remove the responsibility to give it back in a couple of days, because if something were to go wrong, I guarantee I can fire her. That'll be a problem. I really don't expect a problem, find anything, so don't take our money.
Okay, is it then,
I don't have a second. I have a, it's for Mr. Bode's motion for Mabry, Bode, and Johnson to be authorized to sign a check for the city at this time. I don't have a second.
we didn't know you say it?
I thought,
Who seconded it? If someone did, I'm sorry, I missed it. Who seconded it?
I'm gonna know about 2 maybe.
Okay, do I hear a second to the motion? The 3 people?
I second.
Okay.
That's with removing her.
Well,
No.
background check is what we're trying to get set.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with background check.
Well, that's what we're trying to
We
get.
voted
already
on the
voted.
background check.
There we go.
That's what we did.
The background check, yeah, Andy was waiting on it. That was-
Okay,
that's- This is about the authority to sign the checks at this time.
Okay.
I made the motion, Carolyn, second.
Okay, any opposed?
Get a vote for it.
Huh?
Everybody in favor?
All in favor?
Two. Opposed? Opposed?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Three. Okay.
So,
So nobody can sign checks.
Okay,
Well, somebody needs to decide what you think.
I'll be happy to pay after I receive the bill. I didn't receive, you forwarded me an email back in the spring about the
We
water
still-
leak.
I thought that vote was about adding people, not removing people.
was,
It was,
She's already signing the checks.
so we can pay the bill.
she's taking care of the bills like she has been.
Bills would have been already taken care of, because Martin Salinas took care of the bill.
Well, there's not a bill.
Can you
So
run
what
one?
how can anybody take care of it? We need to be more come forward on that. If there's a bill that's due, you need to tell somebody who's writing the check so we don't have late fees.
You guys do need to make a motion to put Jerry on there though, since he is the mayor. Since that failed, you need to come back and at least put the mayor on there by
Yep.
himself.
He has to, yeah. I'll make a motion that Jerry Mabry, myself, and Kelly after a background check. Is that agreeable? Is it second? Is there a second?
You need a second to vote?
okay. All in favor? Okay,
Okay.
okay, now we get on to the,
Moving right along.
moving right along. Budget. you have a copy of the budget, Karen? Well, the dates on this, is on the budget incorrect. From October 1, 2020 to September 30th of 2021.
Fiscal year.
Is that the fiscal year? That's fiscal year for us?
I have one. It's dated January 1 to December 31, 2021, which would be the correct date. And we need to get this thing back. We're gonna be working on another one here in a month or so. How we're gonna handle this.
This is the furthest we've gotten with it.
Huh?
This is the furthest we've gotten with it so far. You said you brought it, so.
Is it the same number, same report with a different header, or is this a different time period report?
I think probably everything is the same, other than the date.
What's wrong? I don't understand what he's asking.
The fiscal year on the top is different.
If it is on the, receivables, okay, so on file with the state, it's January 1 for December. Then we receive our money like from the state for, it's calculated from them for, October 1. But that's what I received before, 'cause I haven't been here a whole year. But again, I'm not supposed to do the budget.
The moving tab right here, utilities and rent, it has.
I love it. The Briaroaks fire donation should not be under rent utilities.
Is everyone looking at?
This should be under a heading of donations.
What I'm looking at here is January 1 through December 31st. Every number I see appears to be the same. It has different dates. So, I just looked at the bottom of these categories. I don't know which one belongs to which category, when it comes to you guys.
I think because we had 2 or 3 different versions of it.
As long as it has the right date on it, it's a police officer.
The first, the other mayor,
What's that?
the other mayor,
Okay.
who they've They've had different revisions and talks, and every time they talk, she prints a new one because it's like, hey, this is the most current. And then they revert back to it.
Under salaries,
As long as it has January 1st to December 31st for the fiscal year, and it lists the police officer under the salary, and it has the donation to the fire department under donations, and the utilities just like
yeah,
that should match everything we talked about previously.
So we can approve this with those changes, because it doesn't affect the bottom line.
No. What are you talking about?
So we're gonna have to put this on the agenda again in 2 months?
No.
That's-
We have to do a new budget for 2022, we have to start working.
Oh, I thought we were gonna approve the budget for this year, because we haven't done it yet.
That is this year. It has never been approved.
That's what I thought we were doing, is
That's what we're-
approving this
that's what we're
budget.
here for. That's why I said, as long as it has the correct date on it,
Okay.
and it has police officer up there, and then it has under donations, the fire department donation, and under utilities, just the electric. Then all the headings would be okay, and it would be good. And that would be everything we could discuss, and the amounts should be identical.
So you have to add it
So that's what my question was, so we just go ahead and approve it with those changes.
With those changes, yes.
Right, that's what I said. So, let's do that.
I would make a motion to accept the 2021 budget
I second that.
as amended.
I second that, that's amended.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Everybody agree?
Yeah.
that was like going to do.
Now, the next discussion, police officer.
What was that?
We should start advertising. Because there are a lot of people.
I think it's something that you need to talk to, I talked to Lieutenant Hogan at the Johnson County Sheriff's Office. And he suggested that we get with our city attorney, because there are things, even if we decide to have a police officer, that things like the one that we had before wasn't actually hooked in to the county, so we couldn't call any flags, huge liability. How much is that gonna cost? We only had $3,600 in the budget that we just approved. And also, you know, when you call 911, you're calling the sheriff's office. That's it. And is the police department, the police officer that we had before actually worked 20 hours a month. And so you're not gonna be calling him, you know, in the middle of the night, you're gonna be calling the sheriff's office. But another thing I learned today was that all towns that are incorporated need to have what's called an MOU contract with the county. Because the county does, the sheriff's office does come out here and take care of everything. You know, they do. If anything, it's the police officer before, if somebody didn't get a garage sale permit, because they didn't know they were supposed to, he could do things of that manner. Then again, he couldn't call any place, huge liability. You know, he's got Jack the Ripper coming up in 10, you know. But the MOU is the Memorandum of Understanding. He did call that out, because you got to communicate us, and you should have. So I looked it up online, because I have really never heard that term before. And That's what it basically says, is that anybody that is incorporated, because of course, the sheriff's office would take care of anybody in the county outside of the city, but we're not like that. Yes.
We're in the county outside of the city.
So what you're saying, Terry,
We're a
is
city.
thank you.
Because we're our own city.
Yeah, we're on the city.
Terry,
Yes,
what you're saying is the sheriff's department
first
will
suggested that we
will come out
contact,
here.
they suggested that we contact our city attorney, which we don't have. That was the first thing he
Well,
said.
we don't discuss that this meeting,
Okay.
but I'm asking you, is that what the lieutenant told you? If we call, have a problem, if we call the sheriff's department,
But you can contact King, I can do that as well. I know him too. Would you like me to call Andrew King? Or maybe you could want to call. I told you what the lieutenant's name was. But yeah, that's what he said. He first suggested calling our attorney. And then he said, you're probably gonna have an MOU, which I just told you what that was. Because this is what I read, and this is the other thing is from the Arizona News. Some smaller cities, like the one that they were talking about, which is like this, that don't have their own police department, and instead they contract with the county sheriff's office to provide law enforcement for those cities. And that is what the municipal police do, that they have to have an agreement with the sheriff's office. And that, but unincorporated areas, of course, the sheriff will take, the sheriff's office will take care of. I'm just saying, I think we missed a piece years ago, and, you know, even Cross Timbers doesn't have it set up that way. We need to check into it to see if we can be in accordance, because if we don't, the scary part of it is, if we don't make sure that we have all our ducks crossed and everything, it's really easy for somebody like Carlson to come in here and take us over. And I don't know if y'all realize how incredibly in debt the city of Burleson is. And I don't know if y'all all had your taxes frozen, me and my husband do not. And so I got my tax statement, wasn't happy about it, but I cannot imagine being taken over by this people of Burleson. So I just want to make sure that we have, that it would be absolutely horrible. And I didn't realize how easily that could be done. It's not as hard as one would think. So I just want to make sure that we have all, I mean, I'm not saying I'm against that police officer. I'm saying we really need to make sure that we have it legally done properly. And that,
We can make sure.
okay, that's good. That's all.
We're gonna have to fill ourselves in, state lodge.
Okay, then, for the present time,
Let me table it. That way we have to talk about it next time. I'll make a motion to table the police officer so that we can find out more about the MOU, find out who we actually need to advertise with, to get who we need. This to table, it's just a table until next time because we want to do it right.
yeah,
The MOU basically tells the sheriff's department, it gives them the rights to come in here.
Right.
We tell them what they can do if they can do. Right now, they don't have those rights.
Exactly.
So that's why you have to have an MOU. I've done this I sold local equipment for years, international, so we always have MOUs in place to
Right.
cover our rights.
From what I understand, the MOU is so that if we need help, they'll provide it.
It's better for our city to have it, much better.
But I made a motion to table it until next time. Is there a
We
second?
just need to.
Yeah, here's a second.
That's it.
Second.
That's it.
Second, all in favor of tabling it till next time? Okay, pass.
Okay, next on the agenda. Possible action of discontinuing, the website.
That website paid up the next day.
You want, Jack?
It's paid up the next April.
That's how I found you folks this morning, when I called the stupid website, not through Facebook.
Are you the gentleman that called
I
me?
am the person that called about the bricks.
Well, I'm glad that you found us that way, because we haven't had it that long, and I thought it was very important that we did have that, out there to be found, and to see what the city ordinances are and things like that.
I don't know what our ordinances are, and I'd love to be able to see them on your webpage.
They are there on there.
Okay.
They're there.
Okay.
I printed them out, they're there.
Okay, cool.
Well, we were only looking strictly because of the bricks this morning.
And Kelly showed me how to get them.
They're in
Needless to say, I was able to find you guys through the web. That's, I hope you don't do it.
Yeah, you have to have that these days, I mean, you really do, you do have to have that on website.
I would say that we need to just let this website die and find one that actually is usable. That is better arranged, that you can download things from, that has enough, maybe email addresses that all of us would have that. So that if they get on the website, they can get email to us and we can check. You can't do that with one that is your, who is the only person that has access to that website right now?
Well, I think
We were
anybody can have
promised 3 administrators.
Yeah, but nobody came up and said they wanted it, and I don't want it, I've had it on my own, but I don't use it, I pay somebody else to do it,
I
because it's hard.
would have helped with it, but I was told it's not mine. I was told by you that it was the mayor's.
That's
That
because
he
the mayor.
donated, which he did not donate because it was paid for by
After
us.
the
We
fact.
reimbursed it.
They would not do the website, so the mayor said he would do it, pay for it, and he did. But
No,
so.
it wasn't that they wouldn't do the website, it wasn't in the budget at that time.
Okay, but the mayor paid for it.
You
And
have-
so the mayor paid for it. Now the city did pay the mayor back.
Do you have a budget?
We're going to.
It's in the budget.
Yes, it was in the budget. I made sure
they did
Not
pay it
us.
back.
Then why you read it?
But why don't you tweak the website? Why don't you have somebody tweak it if you don't like it?
Put this one down the line. I don't like it.
But you can fix that.
It's
You can start totally
I would just
over.
tweak it.
It doesn't have the backbone. No,
How do you
it's
know
not
that?
safe.
Do you design those? Because, I mean, I don't think that's possible. It has to be something, the person who designed it does that for a living. And you're saying it can't happen. Do you know it can't happen?
I do not like the website. We were promised a lot of
We
things.
argued this.
They were supposed to have all this stuff done.
And the mayor said,
It
y'all,
was a
you
year
two,
before we got
find one.
anything.
I'm not gonna research it. I do too much other research here lately. And if you have a problem with it,
I
then
don't
you
have a
need
problem
to
with
do
being
some
an
research.
administrator on something
Then
like
why
that.
haven't y'all come up with something that said you don't like it?
I offered it the first day.
Do it.
I offered it.
Then why haven't you done it?
I don't like the website.
Then find something else, but we have to approve
I
it.
agree. We need to
Okay.
find something else. We need to take our approval off of it.
Well, somebody find something and let us.
I can bring something back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have to approve. You don't understand how difficult and how,
Something that is
you just,
better.
if you let somebody else take over your domain, name besides you, you just lost it. Okay?
I don't want a .com. We should never have had a .com.
So what would you
Can I
want?
ask a
We
question?
don't make money here. We don't want to. We're not
We're
supposed
still
to.
having a
Can I
discussion
ask
to
a
see.
question? I was approved by the mayor. Why, when the mayor sat there and said the website was donated, did we reimburse him for it?
I didn't reimburse him for it.
I just asked a question. You're the one that brought that up, that was reimbursed.
I remember at one of the meetings.
Was it a million that
No, I remember one of the meetings that the mayor had donated as well at any point in time, since it was up and active, at any point in time. If he donated, basically, he could have took it down, take it away, shut it down.
Right, but
He's up and running, so once the city reimbursed him,
communicating.
But the question, then the problem comes is it was not in the budget to do that. And that was raised at the last budget period. It wasn't in the budget, and he said, it's not a problem, I'm donating it. So then all of a sudden, it's not donated anymore. You don't do that, you don't mix it like that.
It's paid up to April.
Now, actually, if you check who is, it's not, it's paid up till July the 5th.
Hey, you know what, you can,
If
get rid of
it's
this
paid up,
website,
just let it
but
down.
anybody else in this town can start another website just like that one. There's nothing you can do about
Put false
I
information.
know.
it. That's how, I mean, that's how this happened in the beginning anyway, but another person was
But I
here.
think that
And that was the argument. This is public information and, yeah, so you can, but
Not
I think
all
you
of
should
it.
have a city website.
Not everything is public information.
Everything that's on the website now is, and should be. They need to know who their city council members are. You can't just, be in a closet.
I'm just saying, you can't just put anything out there.
I didn't say anything. It's gonna have our names on it. I mean, somebody else can start doing it.
I'm just saying, let this one down the line, and
Okay.
have another one waiting in the wings.
We can come up with something.
As long as something's up on the web.
Yep.
By July 5th.
Okay,
I live here 37 years, that's the only time I ever.
do I hear a
Yeah, we finally got
motion?
some communication going in this town. Now that we keep.
Do I hear a motion that we let the website die at this particular time?
I make a motion that we leave the website, don't pay any more on this particular one, and we will have another one waiting to replace it.
Do I hear a second?
You know that can happen by tomorrow.
It's 30 minutes.
It can. Those things take months to put into place, months. We don't even have another council meeting for 2
Big
months.
bucks, big.
Yeah, they do cost big bucks. We don't have another council meeting until June, August. And it's gonna be dead in July.
No second, that's it.
Okay. Okay, on the next agenda is discussion of possible action of hiring a city attorney.
Did they vote it down?
No.
I talked to TML. I have a list of 6 firms in our area that do municipal law.
Shame them off.
And I would talk to each one of them, find out what they would charge, because they're gonna want to charge a retainer, how much they would charge per hour to come to our meeting. So we would have a city attorney. We may not need them at every meeting, but it would be good at first.
Oh,
And then we can go over them here in the meeting and decide who, if any, and hopefully at least one,
who's on the list?
Loyal and Lowry,
Is it B-O-I?
Brown and Hoffmeister.
West
Sorry, can you
What?
spell those so I can put them in the minutes?
Hmm?
Can you spell them so I can put them in the minutes? Okay, good luck.
I want to hear it.
Messer and Rockefeller and Ford, Nichols, Jackson, Dillard, Baker and Smith. There's one that's in Tyler, I'm not gonna mention that. Taylor, Olson, Atkins, Schwalla, and Elon, Wolf, Tidwell, and McCoy.
I want to have one of that list too, the one I've been talking to. Okay, I want to add one to that list. That's okay with you. Because you're gonna call him? Is that right? Hmm?
I'll call them, have a spreadsheet.
I want to add one. I want to add one, the attorney that I've been talking to, who's an municipal attorney.
Yep, what name?
Paul. Let me spell the last name.
Just Paul?
I said, can you hear? Let me spell the last name, so.
I hear
Y'all, all
Virgos.
y'all need to speak up.
I know I'm having an argument
They
here.
did it. I can hear it.
Okay, the last name is And
Now, kind of stuff.
then he was with Bode and Galvin.
Oh, that's Aaron Burns.
Actually, they do have an office here, but it's in Fort Worth, because they don't, it's hard to find a municipal attorney, I found that out.
Yeah.
And I had wanted to wait for her, but she never called me back. I'm gonna tell you what this man said too, that I bring up. Also, he said, I said, why do we need a city attorney? He goes, well, you don't, if you're not really in court. So, it makes sense to me. If we do decide to start issuing tickets or citations for the ordinances, then yes, we do need a judge, provided we don't want to pay for this, so we don't use it. But we spend that money on an attorney, and then if we decide that we want to start having, court, then that will generate enough money to make it for the judge.
I think he said attorney at the beginning.
You know, he said not to have a city judge unless you're having court.
You need an attorney.
You need an attorney, and if you decide to have, citations or tickets, then you need to have a judge. Then you'll be generating revenue after the judge.
The more we have to choose from, the better. The more we have to choose from, the better.
Okay, I hear a motion that, Mr. Brody will talk to the attorney.
Make a motion, I'll talk to them.
Okay, second,
I second.
all in favor? Motion carries.
Would you spell the last name again? W-I-E-N-S.
WIENESKIE. Hey, let me give you his number.
Yes.
817-276-6000.
What was the last one?
6,000.
6,000.
6,000?
Yeah, out there.
Am I here, David?
Okay, the next on the agenda, action on contacting residents in the city of Briaroaks, of city business.
Yeah, that is discussion and possible action. The letter to send to all residents twice a year. We brought this up before. It's to have communication. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, where we need to let the residents know, hey, you're actually in a city, and this is how you find the ordinances, and or even put a few of the ordinances back. I think we spend more than one scan, but it's all about kind of communication and what we're doing, and to make sure that, like I said, we don't have to hold the ordinances. Not only is it hard for the city itself to stay a city, but it makes our property values go down. When you see junk cars in people's yards, and the yards are really high, and they're not, they're building them not the way that they're supposed to be, it's like, but then, I just don't want, there's other stuff, something big is being built down the road, but I don't know. And I'm like, is there another house down there that we don't know about? How many houses have been built in here? I didn't go down Trailwood to that tree fell down a month or two ago. I didn't even notice that tree back there. But it was like, wow. But there's just things that are new around here, and I don't know. I think it's best that the whole city knows, and then if you decide then to start giving them tickets for not following the ordinance, you can't say that people, well, I never heard that. Yes, we mailed you. We have mailed you. I just put down twice a year. I mean, I think it's just good to keep the lines of communication open, and going, hey, you know what, your city's here, we're watching you. Kind of, just make, don't have trash cars, don't, throw some shanty shack up and think that that's going to be okay. That's kind of where I came with that, just to have communication. So, and then the last meeting was on the minute meetings to have Kelly draft a letter, which she did, and it's in their package. It's not.
Well, at one time, I think we did in with a letter. He was supposed to come to the next meeting he never showed up. Gotta work his property out.
And then it was a year before we ever just talked about it again. It's kind of, like I said, we lost the window to do something about
No,
that.
we already talked about that.
That's what we need to have an attorney here, like you said, so that we can straighten this out, because we may or may not be able to do anything. That's why I even suggested it in the first place. So maybe we should just drop this until we get an attorney. Let it die.
Yeah, we need,
And address all these things at once.
Yeah, but can we also, approve that we give a mail out going so this residents of the city will understand some of the stuff, so they won't be so.
Not everybody drives in front of the fireplace, or the fire
They
department.
don't, they don't.
I come in from the other.
Yeah, I just,
Would you feel comfortable drafting a letter to somebody like that, or would you rather leave it to an attorney?
What does it say that you're
I
going to be?
don't think the attorney would have anything to say.
No,
We're talking about this already on the
We
website.
took a left turn here.
Let's just let it go.
We're talking about the letter twice a year. We got
They're
back
on two
on,
different subjects.
Yeah.
yeah, we got back on the house on track.
Yeah, it is.
We were talking about the letter twice a year.
Now, the letter would be stuff that's already known, it's nothing that the attorney would have to look over. I mean, it's really like, hey,
Your meeting is discussion on,
yes, please.
on the letter. I think a letter twice a year is very reasonable, it's not a bad idea. But, I wouldn't list ordinances, I'd say, you can find your ordinances here. We have meetings here. Welcome to the neighborhood. You know, we're neighborly, this is the form of government that we have, this is how you can find us. One page. It doesn't need to be a lot more.
Not everybody has computers in this show.
That's ridiculous.
No,
Everyone in the world
No,
has
they all
access to it.
You know, mailbox.
I know people still with rotary phones.
We have libraries, we have grandkids, we have
She
neighbors.
doesn't get out.
Everybody here has a neighbor, that's how most people should hear about this and have heard about this for years.
I've heard that. It's
And we know
something
from the city of
that-
Watauga, the city of Watauga sent out letters when they were having their meetings, and they weren't there every time. What's so hard about sending 2 letters a year? It's very inexpensive on a bulk mailer.
I think it's a great idea, but I don't think you need to send all the ordinances and stuff, I think it's a.
No,
you
that
just
should
get
be
it
on
in
your
here.
that should be on your webpage.
That's exactly what
Because
I
I think you should set it a little bit at a time. So every time just do a new ordinance, otherwise people that don't have laptops.
I would say in your letter, refer to our webpage for the city ordinances.
Where they can come to like a meeting and then they can request.
This is my
something.
first time here, this is a monkey show.
But we just need people that don't have computers, I don't know what they're gonna do, if they really gonna look at that. That's the only reason I thought they had something in there.
If you're living in a closet or under a rock and don't have a computer, you're not gonna come be involved anyways. There's
Well, in the
not,
letter, tell them that they can see any city council member.
Or come up here to the
city
meeting.
secretary.
it'll say when the meetings are, it'll say who the city council people are. Contact us, I'll give you the ordinances, that's not a problem. The fact that somebody doesn't have a computer, I don't see
There's some
that.
people there's some elderly people.
I
I
know.
know at least one.
I know one that lives 100 yards from me, she raised me. But she has access to everything in the world. She got 9 grandkids, she got plenty of neighbors, she knows when the meetings are, she's lived here I don't know how many years, since 1990. It's not unreasonable to say, hey, this is Briaroaks, this is when the meetings are, this is where they are.
No, I know.
You can find all this information here.
But if they're saying that some, like, just saying.
Just because she doesn't carry her own laptop or go to work every day doesn't mean she doesn't have access to these things.
Yeah, Howard had his hand up.
I just had a thing, everyone's got a mailbox, they can drop them in.
Oh, we can't drop them in.
No,
That's-
Yeah, yeah, right.
That's in
Yeah.
Federal funds. You can stick it on the front.
Yeah, make a motion to do the mail out and then we decide how to do it, because I think if you make it where you just have one stamp.
That's a list that we have.
So that
That's
everybody
suggested.
can fit in that
Well,
one stamp, instead of one piece of paper, you need to get 2 pieces of paper, so, front and back, just make it one stamp. So instead of just sending one piece of paper, why don't you send a little bit more information?
So you're really just talking about, hey, this is when our meetings are, this is when the fire halls,
Yeah, I don't-
donation
I
event
don't- I
or.
don't know Burleson, I can Burleson mail,
Terry, are you making, did you make the motion?
Yes, sir, I'd like to make a motion that we, have the mail outs to the citizens, and then we can determine what we're gonna put in each time.
Do I hear a second?
Can we get a rough draft or a sample or something so that we know what we're talking about sending out?
I guess you're saying you would bring a draft to like a meeting and then that would be approved?
Get approval to do it, and then we will get it wrapped, and decide what we're gonna put in.
It's gonna change each time, you guys might want to put something different in there.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be.
Okay,
it'll be-
can we get a second?
I'll take it.
All right, all in favor?
What was the motion again? Because
That we approve to do the mail out.
Wait, just let her talk.
We approved to do the mail out, we haven't approved the content, we'll have to do that at each time when we do it. Just that we are gonna reach out to our citizens.
Twice a year, right?
Was it?
Yeah, that's it.
I guess.
Okay,
All right, it's been seconded.
Yeah, we
all in favor? Motion carries. Okay. Discussion of action contacting the Johnson County Precinct 3 Mine Point of fallen trees. Where are these fallen trees at?
Well, there was one on Crowwood. What was that? 'Cause you got the call, I called the precinct about something else, and she said, somebody just called me from Briaroaks, said had a tree fallen in the road. And I'm like, okay, so I said, well, Kelly.
Where did this tree fall at?
Right, well, that's my first trip down there. Right where it split.
Oh, with the Y?
Yeah, we're traveling,
Yeah.
splits at east and west.
And right there. And you can tell that, well, somebody else, I don't know if it's hard or not, get it out of the road. But then, you know, trees are liability, because where I live on Briaroaks, one tree fell across the street on the Lewis property. I was on my way over to a fire department, police department, and I was probably 4 in the morning, going, and then it was just pitch black, and all of a sudden there was this tree. And I'm so glad that my neighbors told her it wasn't TV at that time, because that's how I jump over that. So I got like with the PD, I'm telling somebody that, sergeant or something, what happened, and he said, oh, you know what, they killed one of my best friends one time. He goes, he was coming down a dark country road, and the tree had fallen, but the stump was up. So he ran right into it and killed it. And I'm like, yeah. But there's nobody if we don't have a contract with somebody that could come in the middle of the night or do something like that, because what if it's a single person and you can't get somebody with a chainsaw to come over and take it down? What do you do? If it's in the easement, it is the city's responsibility.
It's happened about 3 times in the last 5 years on Valley View alone. Paul and Mike on the corner and myself would go down there and cut it up, because it's the neighborly thing to do.
So if you're not able to do that,
Yeah, you're not.
who's going to do it on behalf of the city? I think that's the question.
You're not gonna call
You
them.
generally start calling neighbors, knocking on doors, and get somebody to talk to. First one, I just hooked it to my truck, pulled it out of the way, and they wouldn't cut it up the next day.
Sure.
It's just a neighborhood. The neighborhood usually works pretty well, doesn't it? We got people just go put up road signs for you.
Yeah, I don't know about that, everybody's gonna do the right thing.
This man here trims up Ward Lane all the time, and nobody asks him to or rewards him for it.
Okay, I think this is something that also needs to be brought up to the city attorney. You know, is, because is it okay, that's a liability on our part too, to say, hey, you know, Joe's gonna take care of it. If it falls down, we don't do anything, and kill somebody. We're not liable at all, even though it fell down in the easement,
If
we
you
are
get a
liable.
lawyer in here and talk about that, then you're crushing the culture of the neighborhood and fixing something that's not broken. Because lawyers are gonna talk liability about everything. That's what lawyers do, they make themselves relevant. Okay?
If it's the city's
Lawyers do
responsibility,
that.
it's an easement, if it's in the easement and that tree falls, it is the city's responsibility.
Owner of the property's responsibility.
Only
It
if it's
happened
in their
across the
property.
street, when the Lewis's tree fell,
If it
the
fell
county came out and
If
flooded
the base is in your property and it falls across the street, the person that owns that land is responsible for it. If it falls on their car, they're responsible for it.
Okay, let's get the city attorney to say, who owns that easement.
There's an ugly
The
apron.
city owns that easement.
What easement?
Right of ways.
You
The
mean,
right of way.
You know
The
that
ditches.
everybody owns out to the middle of the street.
That's,
You know that law's
no,
gone now, right?
that's false.
It is gone. That law went out a year ago.
If you get royalty checks for gas,
No.
once a
Call-
year,
call the county.
Do you?
Hey,
it's figured out to the middle of the street.
no, it's not anymore. They got changed a year ago. Tell your commissioner.
How long have you lived in Briaroaks?
Yeah, you can be grandfathered in,
Since
anybody
97.
new,
How many
it
times have
doesn't
you
go to
seen
the
this be a
revenue
problem?
anymore. Yeah, you need an attorney on that,
We'll
for
worry
sure.
about that. They one or two times, you put the nail in the file.
But I agree, neighbors.
Neighbors don't say.
And study that.
City attorney needs to see that, it's a liability for the city. They need to do the same, not further down the road.
So if something, I just want to ask this question, if something did happen, the defense the city would have would be that mayor's.
Someone,
Someone's talking.
It's fine.
did the tree actually fall in the street?
Yeah. Say if a tree falls in the street. If it's in the easement, not if it's back there, that's your problem. But if it's in the right of way, and then it falls in the street and it kills somebody, you know, we need to have the city attorney.
Well, I don't know that you necessarily need to bring a city attorney in.
Well, you're already gonna probably
Take
have
over,
one.
you know, a tree falling, now, if someone is injured, that would be a different story.
Well, if you don't get it up and somebody's injured,
Well, that would probably be, if you just, like Mr. Laux said, get your neighbor, talk to your neighbor.
Park your car in front. Just be neighborly about it. How long have you lived in Briaroaks, sir?
Over 50 years.
How many times have you seen this be a problem?
None.
You lived here since '71. How many times have you seen this be a problem?
I hadn't seen, it, but they had nails fail, but it's like no problem getting.
And the neighbors handle it?
I just told you there was a problem in Carolyn County. Let's talk to the city attorney with him. It's not gonna cost a fortune to ask a question to make sure.
Well, the reason
And
why
that's
I
the
say
truth.
that is the fact that, a few years ago, they were going through across Ward Lane.
And I cleaned it up while the fire department was cleaning 2 or 3 other ones up because of the freeze.
One of the councilmen called the county. And the county said, where is it at? He told them, and they told him, that's your responsibility.
That's right, it is.
If you don't come into the.
Because you don't have a contract with the county.
Well, I don't know.
That's what I'm telling you, you don't have, the same thing, you don't have a contract with
And the general
the sheriff's
rule,
office either.
They've always been, real cooperative with us.
Neighborly.
Yeah.
But see, this is how you got what the people that are in unincorporated areas, they're not paid for people that are in incorporated areas just as us. So I see a lot of areas that we're not complaining. I'm just calling this one out too. That's all. As the attorney about it when we get it.
I understand you deal with a lot of business and legalities and stuff. I'm concerned about bringing lawyers in on everything and liabilities on everything, destroying the culture of the neighborhood and the small community that we have that works.
You know what's going to destroy that is when you lose your corporation. I think tonight's the only time we've ever talked about an attorney. And we've only said 3 things. If we don't do those 3 things, it's going to jeopardy losing our corporation. Nobody's saying attorneys are going to be able to, they've never been before. But you can apply for it, doctor has a question.
Is it tree fell?
I tried pretty far.
We're gonna lose our corporation because the tree fell.
It's a combination of them all. It's a combination of them.
Your tree fell's public.
I motion for this meeting to adjourn.
I'd say.
Okay. That was my head.
So open for comment on this end?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. He came for a reason, but I didn't see it on me.
The bricks that are in the ditch, why I'm here.
Do what now?
The bricks that are in the ditch, is why I'm here. The bricks
The
on,
bricks.
on Trailway.
yes, I saw them too.
The water backed up across the road, going into Charlie's neighborhood, the house, backyard, all the way back to Trailwood West to the pond where it was overflowing into people's property. I called that into Kelly this morning, which is concerned. And this goes to why we don't have code enforcement. People do whatever the heck they want, putting crap in their yard and thinking it's fine, but not realizing how it affects their neighbors.
Doesn't sound like the neighborly thing to do, does
No,
it?
not at all. So my concern that I'm putting to the council is what are they gonna do about the bricks that somebody just put in the ditch that's gonna cause a flooding problem to the neighbors that are to the west end?
Is it in the, it's in the ditch?
It's in the ditch, on his property. I sent Kelly pictures of it.
Yeah, I saw it, but I've had that by my house too, and that's when I first started coming here. They didn't do much about it. Well, the prior mayor, not Martin, I don't said, everybody will do it right.
The landowners
That's
have,
what we do.
landowners on this thing here, landowners that it affects has to file against the person that has done this. We have the same issue on Trailwood where I live. A resident behind us put up this beautiful wood fence. We also run a concrete curb 2 foot tall all the way across his property line. And then all his water runs out in 2 places. So it runs right down a brand new fence line I just put in, which almost washed out on my post until I put concrete all the way down the fence line to keep it from washing out. And now all they told us we could do was file a lawsuit against the guy, and the county would come up and kind of see if it affected the runoff if it didn't.
Well, and what you just described is an ordinance that the city's supposed to enforce.
Right.
It's in 2007-3.
Didn't that just happen to the firehouse?
That's how they got this.
So we just gotta look at it, we might have to spend $10,000-$15,000 on a lawyer, we're gonna pay for settlement.
Basically, dispute resolution, and then you want to talk to the gentleman, let him know what he's done, and ask him.
Well, I talked to my neighbor plenty of times, and
But it shouldn't be my place to go,
Right.
why are you dumping? There should be ordinances in place, which you guys have, and aren't
Well,
being
he
enforced.
can't stop up a waterway.
He did.
Well, he did.
I know, I live on Trailwood East, and I went through that. I had to drive my pickup because my car would have been
But can you guys
flooded.
not call into the carpet and
Okay,
say,
we've had a problem in Fort Stop him. He's trying to save that house.
then
That's
you
why-
built illegally because it's too
Right.
close?
It's, he cannot stop up that waterway.
Terri, did you make a motion?
No.
To adjourn?
Yeah, she did.
She did.
So you're quite, so you're.
So you guys-
You're shutting it down.
Wow.
It's not on the agenda, so
That's
I
the
didn't
one
say
right
that.
there. You're shutting it out.
Yeah.
Is that how the city council works it? She's the, you don't allow us to talk. You don't allow us to talk, so you shut us out saying, we're shutting down.
We need to put that on the next agenda.
Well, let's put it on the next one, which is in August when it's dry out, and we got crap in this guy's yard now. This is shameful.
What did she do?
You know, we have to adhere to the agenda thing. I mean, that's on the rules, right?
His last name's Phillip.
I don't know, I didn't even.
Nonetheless, that could be an item that we discuss for our next agenda.
Well, in the meantime, we could do something.
That's true, that's true.
We do.
If we have a lawyer, we can go out there.
Or someone did either.
A neighbor should go over and talk to them. Somebody, any of us.
I don't think it just must be a neighbor. I think a leader in our community that's on council, I don't care who it is, but I think it should be a leader in our community that goes over there and says something.
I definitely think so, because people that do that are gonna care. And I have a neighbor that does something similar, and I don't wanna talk to him. But I was hoping there was an ordinance as well that could take care of this requirement stuff. You know, it's, no, sometimes good people just have bad neighbors, and I think it is a good idea to have somebody else other than their neighbor to actually approach them. I know our neighbors go over sometimes to different people.
I mean, a member of the governing body can say, this is against the ordinance and enforce it. Your neighbor can't. The governing body can show up and say, you're in violation.
I'll go.
Your neighbor can't do that.
It might be reasonable.
Evidently, they've had problems with it for a while.
I think, I can't just recall just what it was that he did. Oh, I think he did, put a load of dirt out there in that water.
Is this the one on, if you're driving towards your house, is the one on the left, right at the bottom of the hill? Looks like it's built in a floodplain.
That small white house,
Yeah.
okay, that's his daughter's house.
Okay.
And he lives in that one right next, on the other side of the creek
I've seen that house, and when you drive by it, like, that's gonna float.
Dave and Teresa,
Yeah.
because they put a sign, Dave and Teresa's dead.
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, he, tried to dam that up with snow.
Right, he put some dirt in there and the neighbors all were up in the arms.
Someone, I don't remember. Someone in the county,
I think when they're done,
might, yeah, might
went
have
over
been
there
James,
and
the
talked
mayor.
to it.
When I had talked to him.
Well, let's see what we can do for this man.
My dad used to do that.
Because he,
That's what Marty was saying, we need to code him to go.
But that water was rushing there because I thought that's gonna be in Charlie's side there. Because I mean, it was flowing through there and you can see all the debris and everything.
well, you can tell behind, one house there.
Yeah, there's a pond that's supposed to catch the overflow and then it goes on out.
That runs back in the face.
Yeah.
Property.
Right.
And
into the creek there.
From this road here.
Goes back.
Right down to the east.
Yeah.
And you used to come right out in front of the fire.
So I think that we should adjourn this meeting like we just did, but we need to figure out how to reach out to that man, because he's right.
Right.
In August, it's gonna be too late.
I think he had something on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
His name is William Fields, I have his phone.
William Fields.
I talked to him today. Talked to him this morning. He called me.
I was going to
The 27th.
answer.
And we even had a special meeting, because I don't want, we need to do stuff, because it's been really bad in a lot of areas, not just his. We looked, I saw his pictures, it did look bad.
His name and telephone number's right here. Yeah, and I have it too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because we talked like the morning. He called me.
And the fact that everybody driving down the road. She had to go get her truck, than her car.
I did a submersible pump, it's my neighbor.
I'm not, I'm
So
not.
everybody should have a submersible pump that has a bad neighbor.
Is the floor open for
Well,
discussion?
I think we got a second there
We have a second to close the meeting.
that we adjourned.
We already went through announcements or requests.
Yeah.
This guy does a lot of Briaroaks. He has a comment, I like it.
I would just like to see or find out how we can get our ditches, our bar ditches cleaned out so they will drain. I get tired of the water just standing around my property and my next door neighbor's property because they don't drain down to the creek. I cleaned my culverts out 3 or 4 times. I want them to drain, so I clean my stuff out. But the water's just standing, and I know that we've had a lot of water this year. But who do we get to do that? It should be the county, because we were talking about the easements, and this is their easement, or is it our responsibility to grade those?
It's not the county's responsibility, it's for
I
our
think
own.
The county won't come into the city.
Okay,
We're not in the county.
That was about maybe 15, 20 years ago. The city had all the board issues internally.
I remember that.
Cleanly or supposedly fixing.
okay.
Now, if you want to see some water, you go to my house. Water is
It's just standing.
it's
Yeah.
standing, it always does. because of the fact, when the city done it, they dug it, then my neighbor had a concrete driveway. Well, they dug down lower than what his culvert was. And they stopped on the other side, so the water couldn't go no place.
Right.
Now, I did notice yesterday, my neighbor out there with a shovel trying to do something with it. And I'm sure that he's gonna say something about it. I would love for the county, I was told by 2 different mayors, you need to fix it, Jerry, we'll pay for it.
Oh.
Yeah. The other mayor, as soon as we get through the roads, we're gonna fix it. It still ain't fixed. And I don't know if it's ever gonna be fixed.
Somewhere down the line, where it's not enough, if we could find something down the line in the county, it would be good. They won't come into the city, but
Yeah.
where does that floodplain go to? I mean,
Well, yeah.
I think
Well,
it's,
right,
if it's the other side of Tarver, we're in good shape.
Yeah.
I think they worked on Tarver here not too many months ago.
They did, we got record rain. We cleaned Mom's out, but the guy next door didn't, so it's not up no more.
No,
You know,
we didn't even address that. But again, I mean, it's over, and that you need to get back with that man too. So,
Okay, did we ever get a second on adjournment?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Motion carried. Thank you.
blurt it out.
Who's too busy on wanting to adjourn this thing?